Assalamualaikum, this is teacher Rozanah here. We are going to have a look at CEFR Readiness Listening Paper 1. Alright, let's go on. The CEFR Readiness Paper 1 aims to test candidates' comprehension on the spoken language in both formal and informal situations. Alright, there are some possible listening texts. For example, lectures, talks, interviews, meetings, documentaries, and advertisements. Let's move on. For this paper 1 of the CEFR Readiness exam, there are 3 parts to it. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. In the paper, you have to answer 20 questions. They are in the form of short text, information transfer, and multiple choice questions. Moving on how to tackle this listening paper. There are 3 steps for you to do it. Number 1 is a pre-listening. This is where you get an overview of the text, where you are asked to read the questions and you go through the text given. In step 2, it's the first listening, when the audio is first played to you. You listen here for specific information. Then step number 3 is a second listening, where you get the missing information and check or verify your answers. Alright? Here are some strategies on how to do that. First, remember in part 1, for questions number 1 to 3, you have to write your answer in not more than 3 words. Then, going on to question number 4 to 6. This is the information transfer part, where you are allowed to write not more than 5 words. Then in same part 1, you have question 7 and 8, where this is the multiple choice question. Then we move on to part 2, where you have all multiple choice, and go on to part number 3, where you have part number 3, where you have 3 different audios played. Okay, to do all this, let's have a look at the steps that you have to go through. This is a recap of what you have to do in part 1, part 2, and part 3. Some of it I've already mentioned just now. Alright, when you are asked to read the question in pre-listening part just now, you have to skim through all the questions and underline the keywords. When it is the first listening, when the first audio is played to you, you pay attention to the content and jot down important points or ideas. Then for second listening, you get the information you might have missed. And then the last one, before you hand in your paper, make sure you check for spelling and grammatical mistakes if there's any. Because you know, any spelling or grammatical mistake you do in the paper will lead you to losing your marks. For sure, I think no one wants to get 0 marks for your paper, right? And again, please be reminded, adhere to the word limit given. Okay, because though some parts of your answers are correct, they are not considered as a correct answer if the word limit is not followed. Moving on, there are some helpful hints on how you could score this paper 1. You should concentrate and listen actively during the test. Read and listen to the instructions. And then read ahead to be prepared. This is in the pre-listening part when you are asked to read the questions. Use the words that you hear in your answers. Never use words that you know. If it is not in the text, if it's not in the audio played, avoid doing that. Use whatever you heard in the audio. That will really help you get correct answers. And then use the pause time to check your answers. You will be given 1 minute to answer the question between the audio played. So fully make use of the time to check your answers and make sure they are correct. Alright, these are some of the things that you shouldn't do. What are those? Do not get easily distracted. You know you are in the exam, so you should pay attention, listen attentively, whatever happening around you, you shouldn't easily get distracted. Alright? Then do not spend too much time on one question. Sometimes candidates tend to do that because you don't want to miss a question. Yes, we understand that. But if you spend too much time on one question, you'll miss the other questions. You can always get back to that question later. Alright? And then do not get panic. If you miss that question, it's okay. Just circle the question that you leave blank for easy reference when you come back to answer that or those questions. And then never leave any answer blank. I know most of you won't do that, but sometimes if you are panicked, you tend to miss answering questions. So calm down and make sure you don't leave any parts blank. I think those are all. I hope those hints, those tips will help you score well in your listening paper 1. Good luck everyone. Thank you. Bye.